The newspapers have all gone, been blown away in the wind. The magazines have all been bought up, turned to ads for corporate spin. And the radio repeats itself so much so that you stopped listening. And TV, well, not much has changed. It's still the same as it's always been. We both look at each other as loneliness starts creeping in. Once upon a time, we were like brothers. Now we feel lucky just to be friends. All the signs during these times have been put up to lead us astray, so that our views become skewed, so that we see the world in a different way, for our bonds are becoming broken. With every smile that our face keeps hid, every hello that remains unspoken, the world becomes a tougher place in which to live. Because everything that for ourselves we take becomes something that someone else can't give. So we better think twice about the choices we make before it's too late to change this state we're living in. That's why I'm moving and shaking. Been busy trying to stir things up a bit, rearranging this big jigsaw puzzle so that all the pieces fit. So the midnight oil seems to be burning again. The Sandman's at your door, but he can't come in. With so much trying your mind, tonight he's not your friend. Since there's so much you're still trying to find before your time comes to an end. Used to dream about today, but that was back then. Back when you smiled as a child before you got sucked in. Back when you always shared and never cared about the color of somebody's skin. Back when you didn't try to solve all your problems with the bottom of a bottle, drowning up your sorrows in a pool of sin. Back when you still had time to let the road unwind, but now your patience is wearing thin. Exit the Sandman, why not see it from the other side, doing the best I can, man. That ain't no lie, that ain't no lie. Daylight again comes now and again, my only friend that's left in the end. The shadows hide as the clouds creep by. I take stake in my mistakes, in the life I know, the one I can't shake. Grasps me by the collar, won't let me go. There's only one way to live, only one way I know. I've been taken, I've been shaken, sent out on my way. I have tumbled, I have stumbled, just going from day to day. The only sunrise ahead is the one I see when I go to bed. I wake up in the dark, circled by sharks, so I cover my head until there's daylight again. Daylight again, daylight again. I'm trapped in the tunnel, we'll suck down the funnel. The light is dim in either direction when you're only trying to escape and be safe. There's no time for perfection. From day to day, to year, somehow, some way, I'll get out of here. Where I stand, my feet are stuck in the mud. There's no chance I can rise above. With bars on the doors, I can't climb out. My guide left me when the candle blew out. I came to my sense, and that was when I knew I'd be down here until there's daylight again, daylight again, daylight again, daylight again. Well, I'm struggling against the tide, pen and paper by my side, feeling great, oh wait, I lied. There's not much I trust and that sucks, but why cry? Seems that something's gonna have to be sacrificed to keep on playing this game, to keep on living this life. Release me from the worldwide weight of humanity, too much for this writer to decipher the many causes of insanity. He pauses, then continues as he counts his losses. His inner voice asks him, is it in you to be the leader when it's so easy to follow? Never need to be the owner when everything can be borrowed. Though you'll never find yourself being a loner, you just might be hollow. And it's such a waste of time following the blind. Open up your eyes. Haven't you realized 'tis better to lead them and still be breathing than it is to follow and be the one left bleeding? Never waiting in the springs of freedom and not understanding these things I speak of. Contemplating something hollow and misleading, and it brings many things, such as a false disguise by a gypsy king. In his lies we discover many truths, through his eyes we uncover his abuse. In his song of sorrow so many sing, well, I got those same old blues again. It seems that life is a game you can never win. Cannot change your past, you can't change where you've been. It seems you were having a blast, but now you don't like the position you're in. Once they stuck you in your cast, you ended up taking it on the chin. Now labeled a has-been, you got no friends, just want it to end. Let your soul be recast, let us try it again. You only live once, well at least you got your name. You tried to give once, got burnt, and you were never the same. Stay away from this one, you who went from healing to being one of the lame. Thy will be done, the only thing you've learned is how to point the blame. And now your motivation for waking is slowly stripping as you sense the tubes of morphine still dripping. Becoming lost at such a cost that you wonder just why should you go on? Why try to live the dream when your imagination is gone? For once you lose your inhibitions, the hands around you mold you into what they want, shaping and persuading you into giving what you haven't got, leveling society by changing you from a have into a have-not. You only live once, well, at least you got your name. You tried to give once, got burnt, and you were never the same. Stay away from this one, you who went from healing to being one of the lame. Thy will be done, the only thing you've learned is how to point the blame. You'd be wise to take my advice before you fall in love with a fool's paradise. You had better think twice. I don't have any vices, and that's priceless. Considering where I've come from, everything I once believed in was so misleading. I'm lucky I'm still breathing. Considering all the things I've done, I scaled the drug ladder straight to the top. Got up so high, I almost couldn't get off. I could not control the cravings inside my brain. That boy's on the ladder and he's climbing up again. From cigarettes to booze to weed to speed to acid to mushrooms to E to crack cocaine. You'd be wise to take my advice before you fall in love with a fool's paradise. You had better think twice. A lot of my old friends now sleep in the gutter, toss an 8-ball on the table and watch them try to kill each other. My dad's a pothead who speaks with a stutter. Just another nicotine fiend that describes my mother. A raging alcoholic, yeah, that's my brother. And my sister, well, guys, I suggest you use a rubber. There, now I think I got everybody covered. If you want to know about somebody, investigate their friends and family. Even still, I'm not quite sure how I let it happen to me, but I've escaped the demons and now I'm free. You'd be wise to take my advice before you fall in love with a fool's paradise. You had better think twice. Well, if you're hooked and you're looking to beat it, listen closely and I'll tell you a secret. If you climb the ladder so high that you duck when planes fly, you just can't jump off or else you'll die. It's too hard to cold turkey what was years in the making. Pressure like that is like an oven baking. You managed to climb up, so you've got to climb back down one step at a time until your feet hit the ground. When someone says your name, I duck, 'cause now I'm careful of whom I trust. Sometimes in love you really get fucked. Sometimes a smiling face turns into disgust. Second chances, you got them, but for the second time you hit rock bottom. Third chances, you want them. Still trying to sell me some fruit that you know is rotten. Calling on the phone and knocking on the door. So scared to be alone when you finally realize that you can't have what you once had anymore, but you brought it on yourself. So why are you so surprised? Love is dead. It has been beheaded. Get it through your head. We'll never be wedded. My phone rings, but I don't pick it up. I give easy hints, but you won't pick them up. Often there's no voice on the other end of the receiver. It is true I once worshiped you, but now I'm no longer a believer. When someone says your name, I duck, 'cause now I'm careful of whom I trust. Sometimes in love, you really get fucked. Sometimes a smiling face turns into disgust. Rain, it makes the flowers grow. Rain doesn't hide what it doesn't know. Rain leads to floods, look out below. Rain, don't say I didn't tell you so. Pain, it doesn't always show. Pain fills up what's empty and hollow. Pain remembers names from long ago. Pain, better when it's dull and shallow. When you want to lash out and leave long-lasting scars, you search deep within yourself and remember who you are. For with your sharp tongue, you know which words will hurt the most, as your vision becomes an apparition after you've disappeared like a ghost. Sometimes it's not what you say, but what you don't. When you know what you want to do and yet you won't. Sometimes walking away without a single word said just might say the most and be the best cure for your head. Severing the ties without twisting the knife might be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. Two mourning doves rest upon a limb to begin the day with a praising hymn to the gods of grass and rain and wind, for it's what they know, what they're surrounded in. Contrast that to me, who prays for fame, golden statues and plaques bearing my name. Sure, it might seem to some a little vain, but it's what I know and what I'm surrounded in. Every sight I am seeing, every thought I am thinking, every sentence I am speaking, everything I've been believing. The roots are imperial, facts often ethereal, logic hypocritical, true intentions deceiving. With all of our wealth, we haven't had much success. Still get people sleeping on mattresses made of pavement. Their pillows are our steps. Why is gold so precious? What makes silver so fine? Who first chose to call this wealth back in history and time? I wish that I could have told them being rich was all for show. Then I would have shown them that there is a better way to go. We could have changed our chain of being into something non-material. Then we could live our lives for something meaningful. We could have reached new heights. I'm talking spiritual. This time, I'm feeling like the criminal, but all communication is subliminal. Sure, my treatment might be deferential, cause now others notice my potential. They got silver tongues, and their eyes, they're green. They're the best paid talkers that you've ever seen. You know those who smile at themselves? Well, now they were smiling at me. They said you can make money for us if you could trick the rest into thinking you got something in which they can still believe. After some pondering, I started responding, and I kindly replied, yeah, part of me's died, and I'd like to find that something I can finally stake my faith and creed in, but hopefully it'll either be mental clarity, oh gee, maybe sanity, or perhaps even freedom. Then maybe there would be no more forced insanity, that any amount of money can pay the fee for forgetting all about humanity and human dignity. What has happened to some, I hope it doesn't happen to me. I'm still trying to find a reason to wake up. Maybe it's to give everything a shake-up. Some poor pawn's gotta lead the charge, take a musket ball for society at large. Heck, I'd rather be the host or the maitre d' than some bourgeoisie attendee to a committee brunch designed to oversee who gets to select who gets the gold trophy for having the charity that spends the most on vanity. I guess we just fundamentally disagree. For you see, I don't want to be a trainee to be a trustee because I don't agree, subscribe, or believe in such self-serving fantasies. For sometimes money is one's own worst enemy. Just search through the texts of history, from King Midas to Judas to Bush and Cheney. When money becomes everything, then I don't want any. Nah, I don't want any. Won't you let me into your heart, into your mind? That would keep me satisfied, to become one with your subconscious and with your soul. You know I'd never try to gain control over your feelings or your actions. I'd just smile wide with satisfaction, and I'd help you find the truth amongst all these distractions. For I believe that we could both use each other as a book of matches. When the world seems dark or when things look bleak, when we could use a spark to light a flame for each other to see. Won't you let me into your world, into your thoughts? As from my own, I've shared a lot. Still I long for yours. Tell me, what do you see when you look at the world and when you look at me? Because I want to view life through the second pair of eyes. For sometimes even I need a guide to show me a new and better path, and to know there's someone standing there, standing behind me when I look back. For I long to see a light when the trail starts winding, as days becoming night and the ways not easy finding. My eyes are tired and I'm losing sight. Won't you let me into your door when I am cold, into your arms so I can hold onto someone, onto something when I'm spinning out of control, when I'm beginning to feel old and less reassured than when I was a kid, when I question everything in my life and what I've done with it. We could share secret thoughts that thus far we've kept hid. Won't you let me in? Oh, won't you let me in? Won't you let me in?